Imagine you're planning a trip to tour all of the major big cities in Japan. What are some of the places that immediately come to mind? Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka. The big three. And if you dive a little deeper, you might include places like Fukuoka, Hiroshima, Sapporo maybe. But there's one city right in the middle of Japan's main island that gets overlooked and passed through time and time again. It's one of Japan's top 3 safest and most prosperous cities, and it's one of only 2 Japanese cities that ended up on Time magazine's top 50 places to visit in the world. So, where am I talking about? Nagoya. And if you're wondering, where the hell is Nagoya? Well, you're probably not alone, and there's actually a really good reason for that. It's right here, by the way. See, Japan loves to rank things, and a while back, a survey conducted in the top 8 major metropolitan areas of Japan asked residents to rank Japan's big cities. And while the people of Tokyo and Kyoto and Osaka all chose their own cities as the best city, Nagoya residents chose other cities. Hi, Editing Clint. I just wanted to mention that the study that I brought up in this video was actually a few years old, and since that study, in recent years, Nagoya has moved up the rankings in terms of livability and all sorts of other metrics. So anyways, back to the video. Japanese media outlets and politicians had a field day with this, crowning Nagoya the most boring city in Japan. Even former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe chimed in, stating publicly, "It's no longer a joke that Nagoya is considered a place that people don't want to visit," adding, "Motomo ikitakunai machi, Nagoya." And because Japan is a country that tends to follow trends and popular opinions, this unfortunate reputation has been pretty pervasive over the years. And it shows. Many tourism sites and blogs list Nagoya as a city that's only really worth visiting if it's convenient on your itinerary. And Nagoya is viewed with a level of disinterest and indifference akin to the way Americans view the flyover states. So, if Nagoya is so dreary, why am I going through all the trouble of making a video about it? Well, at risk of sounding like a contrarian, of all the big cities I visited in Japan, Nagoya is by far among my favorites. Let me explain. No other city in Japan feels like home the way Nagoya does. Perhaps this is due to the fact that with Toyota Motors headquarters nearby and Nagoya Port being the largest and busiest trading port in the country, Nagoya is remarkably diverse. Or maybe it's in part because of the lack of tourism, that when you spend a day in Nagoya, people don't assume you're a tourist just because you don't appear Japanese. They understand that there's a decent chance you live in Japan and know your way around the culture and customs. And if you don't, people in Nagoya attend to enough foreign tourists that they're ready to code switch into tourist mode and help you with whatever you need. Shop owners will speak to you in Japanese first before assuming you can't speak the language. Restaurant staff will ask you if you need an English menu rather than just taking one look at you and handing you one like they would in Tokyo. You aren't treated like some aimless fool who needs to be ushered along in some shoulder-to-shoulder line at a historic temple complex like you are in Kyoto. Or like a wallet walking around ready to spill your cash at some tourist trap-made cafe in Osaka. You're treated just like anyone else. And as a non-Japanese person living in Japan for many years, this treatment goes a long way. And sure, I'll admit it, for those of you who are traveling to Japan for the very first time, Nagoya may not perfectly scratch that itch. It may not perfectly fulfill that first-time sensory overload that you're looking for when you go to a place like Tokyo or Osaka. But does that mean it's not worth visiting? Absolutely not. Nagoya has something else to offer. It has character. That sort of scrappy underdog character that has you cheering for it until the very end. Like Japan facing off against America in the World Championship of America's favorite pastime.
He throws. Trout strikes out swinging.
And Nagoya isn't some watered-down version of anywhere else either. It's got its own unique look and feel and cuisine, and history and atmosphere. Where Tokyo is bursting at the seams with salary workers in suits, Nagoya has skaters and musicians that look like they just stepped out of the 90s. Where Kyoto has dozens of the same souvenir shops, Nagoya has mom and pop shops and independent whiskey distilleries and night markets. Nagoya has loud and proud drag shows and parties, and people who stand on street corners and fight for the rights of marginalized communities both in Japan and around the globe. It has festivals that celebrate multiculturalism and diversity while also staying true to its own rich history. And honestly, I can't think of another city in Japan where I've made more incredible memories than in Nagoya.
Give me that dog. How clumsy was it? I love you.
Give
音だけ短くみんなの前でじゃあ
Say hi.
See that? What is that? What is this?
Oh my god. What do you think?
No crossbows.
No crossbows. What is going on here?
Nagoya offers anything and everything you could imagine wanting to experience in a big Japanese city without that anxious feeling of being an imposter or an imposing tourist. It feels like a city you've been living in for years, even if you're just staying in a capsule hotel for the night. And what I can tell you is that atmosphere, that feeling of immersion and acceptance, I wouldn't trade that for any of the animatronic crabs in Osaka or the robot cafes in Tokyo.